procedure takes approximately 3 minutes. Make sure the power cable is firmly connected in the socket to prevent accidental disconnection, and then connect it to the primary power outlet. The battery status indicator shows the charge status of the battery, even when the ventilator is turned off. When the indicator is solid green, the battery is fully charged and connected to primary power. When flashing, it means that the battery is still charging. If the battery is not charging, for whatever reason, the indicator will remain dark. Make sure the ventilator is connected to a power source prior to starting ventilation. If you haven't done so already, connect the oxygen hose to the ventilator, and then to the gas supply or a gas cylinder. To connect the breathing circuit, do the following. First, install the expiratory valve. Then select the appropriate breathing circuit and components. Third, assemble the breathing circuit. Then connect the external devices and sensors. Perform the pre-operational checks. First, assemble the expiratory valve set by placing the silicone membrane onto the expiratory valve housing. Ensure that the metal plate is facing upwards and is visible. Position the valve in the expiratory port, ensuring it is straight, and twist it clockwise until it locks into place. To prevent patient or ventilator contamination, connect a bacterial and viral filter between the patient and the inspiratory port. Bottle above the humidifier. First, insert the humidifier chamber. Connect the shorter blue tube to the inspiratory port on the ventilator, and then connect the expiratory tube to the expiratory valve. Insert the water feed line into the water bag or bottle. All electrical contacts on the breathing circuit match the connecting element. Insert a flow sensor into the breathing circuit in front of the patient connection, that is, the Y piece. Attach the blue and clear tubes to the flow sensor connection ports on the ventilator. To prevent water accumulating in the flow sensor and tubing, flow sensor tubing on top of the flow sensor. The gas CO2 sensor connected at this point to the corresponding connection port. Slide the CO2 sensor onto the airway adapter. Align the arrows on both components and press them together until you hear a click. Then connect the sensor with the airway adapter to the breathing circuit before the flow sensor. Position the breathing circuit in such a way that the tubes will not be pushed, pulled, or kinked. The ventilator runs a self-test. When that is complete, select the correct patient group. To access tests and calibration functions, touch Preop Check in the standby window. The tests and calibration window opens. A green check mark indicates the component is calibrated and ready, while a red X indicates the last calibration was unsuccessful. A box with no marks indicates the test or calibration has not been performed. Perform a tightness test and flow sensor calibration each time you have connected a new breathing circuit or component, including a flow sensor. The tightness test checks for leakage in the patient breathing circuit. To perform the tightness test, select the desired operation. Then, follow the instructions from the ventilator. Please note that wearing a glove is recommended. When the disconnect patient message appears, disconnect the test lung. When the message Tighten patient system is displayed, block the opening. After completing the tightness test, the message Reconnect breathing system is displayed. Reconnect the breathing system. When the test has been completed successfully, a check mark will appear. To calibrate the flow sensor, select the desired operation, then follow the instructions from the ventilator. When the Disconnect patient message appears, disconnect the test lung and attach the adapter to the flow sensor. When the message Turn the flow sensor appears, flip the flow sensor. Wait. And then flip the flow sensor back to its starting position. Disconnect the adapter from the flow sensor. When calibration has been completed successfully, a green check mark will appear. Calibration of the oxygen sensor is only needed after installing a new galvanic oxygen sensor or when a related alarm occurs. The calibration procedure can either be performed when the ventilator is in standby or during active ventilation. To perform calibration with 100% oxygen, set the oxygen control to 22% or higher. The gas source has to be connected. When calibration is complete, make sure there is a green check mark in the O2 sensor checkbox. Once you have completed the pre-operational checks, the ventilator is ready for use. You can set up the ventilator for a particular patient and start ventilation. Or you can turn off the ventilator and keep it stored away, ready for use. All the test results of the pre-operational checks will remain stored in the memory, even when to turn off the ventilator, press and hold the power standby key for about 3 seconds. Connecting a new patient to the ventilator, select the right patient group and sex, and then specify the patient's height. The ventilator calculates the patient's ideal body weight. If you have already performed the pre-operational checks, you don't need to repeat them. The test results are stored in the ventilator's memory, even when it is turned off. Make sure that the setup you calibrated is not changed or altered while the ventilator is in storage. If you haven't already done so, perform the pre-operational checks now. For a new patient, you can pre-configure the ventilator quickly just by touching a Quick Setup button. Each quick setup defines a ventilation mode and all the settings relevant for that mode. For each of the patient groups, 3 different default configurations can be defined. Of course, you can always modify any of the settings. Review and adjust the control settings as needed. To review and adjust the alarms, touch the Alarms button. Then, touch the alarm control and adjust it. To start ventilation, touch Start Ventilation. If needed, you can change the mode associated with the selected quick setup. Just select the desired mode and confirm. The Controls window opens. Review and adjust the control settings as needed. Then, touch Confirm to activate the new mode. To change any control settings, select and adjust the setting or touch Controls to access all the available settings. To enable, disable, or adjust tube resistance compensation, touch TRC. If you need to change basic patient data, touch Patient and adjust the settings as needed. To review and adjust the alarms, touch the Alarms button. Then touch the alarm control and adjust it. To set alarm limits automatically, touch the Auto button. To stop ventilation, press the Power Standby key. Then, touch Activate Standby. The device enters standby and the yellow counter shows the time elapsed in this mode. The Power Standby key light is green. To turn off the ventilator, press and hold the Power Standby key for about 3 seconds.